Hello, everyone. Your friend and neighborhood pastor KP here. Hope all is well with you, and I hope you're staying strong in the Lord. Welcome to freedoulostv. Thanks for supporting. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for liking. Thanks for sharing. For the emails and the comments and the emails. Appreciate it. Right. Um, Thanks for the love. Of course, the views and the thoughts, they are my own, and not speaking on behalf of the church, not speaking on behalf of the conference. I'm not speaking on behalf of division or union. I'm just sharing my thoughts based on how things have been going since we've had this whole pandemic and COVID-19, the rollout of the vanilla, and some people call it the Kool-Aid, but vanilla, the Kool-Aid, the vacation, right? And this journey started since Pastor Vine put out a presentation here dealing with our document, as you know, the 2015 vanilla statement and the hard line document, as I call it, in October there of 2021. So I'm doing, for the last part of this document here, concerns regarding COVID-19, church governance, and liberty of conscience. I'm doing the last part. So in the previous video, I dealt with number 8-point document. So there's an appeal or the conclusion, and there's a preamble, and I dealt with the preamble as well. In the appeal, of course, this document is not short on quotes from Ellen White and specific references to the Bible. All right, there are specific quotes and specific references to the Bible. And whenever you get these specific reference, especially since 2020, right, it is really to, tell people to calm down, don't question the church, don't question authority. Things are written in a certain way to seem like there is the welcome. Questions are welcome, but we haven't been experiencing that from government and from our church, right? As a matter of fact, you're told to be quiet and just accept what the government is doing. We all know that. It's clear now. But as I said, now the documents are out. The information is out there. We're distracted with Ukraine and Russia. And we are not... it's almost as if we're forgetting what transpired, where people were fired and, a lot of individuals experienced some terrible things. Of course, the lockdown, the restrictions, and a lot of things have come out to say that the government took the wrong approach. And in us supporting the government, we definitely took the wrong approach. So in the pastoral appeal section here, it starts out by talking about by their fruits. By their fruits you shall know them. Matthew 7:20. What are the fruits of the current criticism of the Seventh-day Adventist Church? When it says the Seventh-day Adventist Church, right? There are some individuals, yes, even if they have been given permission to, do certain things and say certain things. I wouldn't say the church. Right? There are a lot of Adventists who don't agree with some of these things. Lots of Adventists. So if we say church, then so be it. Some members have already approached their pastors, informing them they are considering leaving the church. True, I've heard that. I don't know to what extent, but some have said that because they were disappointed in the fact that they weren't getting any support and they were isolated and left alone, right? Because they didn't take the vanilla. Presentations of doubt have polarized Adventist churches and largely distracted from the mission of the church. While there were some, but, the whole misinformation and disinformation swirling around, everything coming from governmental authorities, government leaders, regulatory institutions, social distance, misinformation, disinformation, conspiracy theorists, right? All these things swirling around. But the polarizing as in terms of some of the information that have been presented coming out of for our church or from our leaders, that's also been polarizing too, because as I've already said, and it's well known now, our document was used to hurt Adventists. So I think we were polarizing in terms of the information that we put out there. Okay. Ellen White again. So we have an Ellen White quote: "Men arise claiming to have a message from God, but instead of warring against principalities and powers and the rulers of the darkness of this world, they form a hollow square and turn weapons of warfare against the church militant. Be afraid of them. They do not bear the divine credentials. God has not given them any such burden of labor." Testimonies to Ministers, page 22. This is one of those scare tactics, right? I don't think Vine or myself or individuals who are level-headed, are warring against the church just because we're speaking out against some of the things that our leaders have done. I'm not warring against the church. Vine wasn't warring against the church. No, we're calling something out. And funny enough that a statement would be used to point the finger at others, but what about the individuals that frame this, the documents that brought about all of this in the first place, right? I don't think God was a part of some of those things, and that's why I really wanted to get through this part so I can get to that hardline document. But some other fingers could be pointed back to say that we did some things, we agreed to some things that we now have egg in our face right now. I've pointed out that Company J, the third phase of their trial, was done at our health institution in Florida, right? Or Advent Health, right? And Company J is not even mentioned anymore right now. As a matter of fact, the warning is don't touch their stuff. That's what we have now. And we know that, our people were pushing Company J. And of course, all the other ones, but definitely Company J, speaking specifically to them. So yeah, I'm not warring against the church. I love my church, love my people. I've been praying for Adventists, praying on non-Adventists, helping them, forming support groups, giving them ideas. And people they're mentally exhausted and drained and so disappointed, man. They're dejected. Governments did their thing and tried to isolate people, basically force them to go get the vanilla, right? So if I am warring against the Seventh-day Adventist Church, then dear God, forgive me and help me to do better. But I don't believe so. In the book Selected Messages, another quote: "I have been shown many who will claim to be especially taught of God and will attempt to lead others, and from mistaken ideas of duty they will undertake a work that God has never laid on them. Confusion will be the result. Let everyone seek God most earnestly for himself, that he may individually understand his will." There's a lot of confusion now. Now that the documents are out, we see that the Holy Spirit wasn't a part of some of the statements that were made. Mass confusion now. Mask up, mask down. 14-day isolation, 10-day isolation, 5-day isolation. If you have symptoms, mild symptoms of COVID, you can go back to work. But the person who doesn't have it and doesn't have the vanilla, well, you can't go back to work. You're fired. Mass confusion, total confusion now. The consequence of these unfounded challenges to legitimate church authority is the creation of a lack of trust in last day church. Oh well, I mean, some things I don't even need to comment on, right? Church's authority, they're always talking about the church's authority, right? Let's see here. What other comments here? It says here, we cannot step off the foundation that God established. We cannot enter into any organization, for this would mean apostasy from the truth. So, I guess if I should back up here, it's talking about erosion of confidence that could result in people leaving the church, right? Organizing a movement of independent worship groups. Nope, none of that. Not that I know of. If some have been formed, then, I guess I'd have to find out, but I don't know of anything like that. Support groups, Zoom groups, people, whatever social media platforms they're using or technology they're using in order to just support each other. That's what I know of for sure, 100%. And I've been a part of them. Just praying with individuals, reading the writings of Ellen White, reading the Bible, talking about the last days and things of that nature. But there is no offshoot. This is not a shepherd's rod thing, right? The document that we came out with isolated our members, right? I'm going to keep repeating it because a lot of these comments are trying to detract from that. But there's mass confusion, as I've said before. And now that information is coming out, we're on the wrong side of history. Wrong side of history. Nobody's trying to leave the church. This is it. We're in it. I'm in it. We're going to stay, right? But if we see things going off the rails, we got to speak up. Respect one another's choice. That's what God's goal is. It says here, even if we don't agree, I 100% agree. But the document that we put out there was used by Babylon to not respect our choice. We claim freedom of conscience. We claim led by the Holy Spirit, but we don't believe the Bible supports. Once again, I think just admit that we did some wrong things during this pandemic and during this crisis. And we can't hide behind the fact that the government told us to do it. Can't hide behind that. And just say sorry. Just apologize. And like I said, call our members, right? Our leaders. You need to touch base with the conferences. Who were the individuals who were fired, right? And by these companies, and they utilized our documents to do so. We need to call them. We need to make it right. That's not against God's will. That's not something that God would disapprove of. We're talking about the Holy Spirit. We're talking about God who is loving, who's kind. He wants us to look out for each other, right? So when we're quoting, when we're talking about being one and, and loving each other and respecting choices and all these different things, right? I think you should lead by example, right? So I know these videos may not be liked. I mean, I get a lot of subscribers or whatever the case is, but it's going to resonate with some people, just like how Vine's presentation did. And this is an encouragement to the individuals who stood hard and suffer the consequences. My family being a part of that. Shout outs to my fam, right? For standing up and saying, no, I'm not going to go down this road and I'm not going to do this because I believe God is telling me something different, right? My family members were let go from their jobs. Granted, the companies didn't necessarily use our documents, but that's just them. Others experienced something different. So just wanted to share these thoughts. This is the final part here of this document. What I would also encourage you to do just before I end here is to read the comments section in this document. I'll put it in the description box. Read the comments section. You have a variety of comments in that section, and I think it's good for you to read it. So just scroll all the way down to the bottom, hit comments, and then you'll see what everybody is saying. And, you'll understand a little bit better. You'll see different perspectives. Those who are pro the shot, pro what the church said, and those who believe that we could have done things a little bit differently. All right. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting. Continue to do so. I'll put my social media handles in the description box so you can follow me. I'm also on Instagram. I'm also on Facebook, right? But you know how it is when you get busy with church work, man. It's just hard to keep up with social media sometimes. Take care of yourself, and many blessings on you. Remember this: only what you do for Christ will last. All right? Take care.